So this week we're talking about renewal, and so just to break that down for just a minute, renewal is like a curve, right? We're on the downside of renewal, which is I need to recharge, my glass is empty, my batteries are depleted, and that can be physically, it can be financially, it can be spiritually, it can be relationally, it can be any area of life. And we can feel it coming. Internally, intuitively, we feel it coming. And then it's our choice. God's gift of free will, it's our choice to say either, okay, I'm going to push pause on life, I'm going to give this area of my life some attention. Or we can try to white knuckle through it and say, I got this. Not that big a deal, I can get through it. And that's where the bigger and bigger spiritual 2x4 comes in to grab our attention until we simply have no choice, because now it's right at the end of our nose and we've got to deal with it. And so this week, where we've got 7 people who called in basically sick, with the exception of Debbie. So when there's that crud that's going around, and so when I felt it coming on, I could feel it, I knew it was coming. I went, honey, I'm pre-sick. And she said, what's that? I said, that's where I don't want to be sick. So I'm going to take off a couple days and give my body everything to where it thinks that I would give myself. So for the next 2-3 days, let's reschedule all my clients, and I don't want to do anything work related, and I'm going to lay on the couch and I'm going to get a blanket and I'm going to watch movies for like 3 days, and I'm going to take some zinc and some vitamin C. I'm going to give my body the time that it needs and not stress it out with anything, because I'm not going to get sick. And I didn't. But this is a pattern with me that I know when sometimes I burn the candle at both ends a little too hot, a little too long, and I'm sure you can relate that when you feel it coming on, and you say, oh, I just can't afford to take time off right now. I just know I've got these things going on that are too important, and I'm going to just white knuckle through it. And that big spiritual 2x4 hits, and then poof, you're down for 2 weeks. And you simply have no choice but to be down. And so this is one area of renewal, is kind of feeling it's coming and deciding with free will, how am I going to handle this? And it can be the same thing. It's not just health, it can be relations. We can have a friendship or a significant other, and something just feels out of whack. Something just doesn't feel the way it used to feel. And we can either push pause and say, I'm going to give this area of my life some attention, and I'm going to ... or we let it kind of bottom out until we have no choice, that this thing becomes a hurt feeling or an argument or a something that says, now you're going to deal with me right now. And we say, oh, okay, the whole rest of life needs to push pause because my friend is hurt, or my significant other is hurt, or something really has gotten bad. And it's the same thing spiritually. We have our spiritual energy that we're born with and that we use, and there's times that especially folks with big hearts can just give away so much. They say, oh, you need some, and here you go, and 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 suddenly there's not left enough for me. And so now I'm just depleted, and I'm trying to hide from my telephone. I'm trying not to answer the door because I'm on life support. I've got this much energy left, and I know the next person I come in contact with is going to take it. So I'm going to insulate myself from the world and try to internally recharge, renew. And so it can be any area of life. It's the same thing with our bank accounts. We can go on a spending spree and then go, oh, what happened? I better go recharge that, better go replenish that, better give that the attention that it needs. And so we're always in these cycles of renewal. And because these cycles affect so many different areas of our life, because we're so multidimensional, that we can't push pause on everything at the same time and say, okay, right now I'm going to push pause on everything. I'm going to rest and do my body what it needs. I'm going to work on my friendships and relationships. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to put this stuff in, and I'm going to pray, and I'm going to get spiritually connected and fill myself up. I'm going to do all this stuff at the same time. It doesn't really work. So when one thing's going up but other things going down, and one of the keys to life is finding a balance in all this craziness of all these cycles that are going on at the same time. But it brings us to a couple of simple spiritual truths. One, we were not born with a finite amount of anything. Our Creator didn't create us with, here's what you have one tank of gas, use it wisely. Because when it's gone, you're done. Instead, we have the ability to continually renew ourselves. And what a gift. What a gift that is, that we have the ability to continually renew ourselves, to continually tap back into Source and fill our glass back up to the top. And our Creator also gave us the ability to fill our glass up with whatever we want, which in some ways feels like a freedom, and otherwise can get us really off track. Now, I'm not much of an automotive guy, a mechanic guy, but I do know that there is a difference between gasoline, oil, and antifreeze. All three are really good as long as they go in the right spot. But you fill your gas tank with oil, I'm guessing it's not going to do good things for your outfit. If you put oil in your radiator, probably not going to do what you need it to do. And so in life, it's kind of the same thing, because there's some times that that life can get in the way, and we can maybe get drawn into a television series that makes us feel a certain way that may be very negative. Fear and all these things creeping in, and we're filling our glass with that stuff. You know, the internet is a wild and woolly place where you have access to amazing amounts of information and people and connection, but we get to decide what comes after the www dot. And whatever comes after the www dot is what we're putting into ourselves. It's what we're refilling ourselves with. So when we have the ability to refuel ourselves all the time, and we have the free will to choose what we're refueling ourselves with. Nobody chooses what book we read, what website we go to, what TV show we watch, how we spend our time and energy, other than us. And so, one of the songs is, to everything there is a season, turn, turn, turn. Well, if you put the wrong season with the wrong thing, it can get a little challenging. Kind of like putting the oil in the radiator. And unfortunately, the roadmap for this thing called life, the world stepped in and said, we got this figured out. We're going to tell you what the right thing to put in is. And it's normally something that's designed to benefit something or someone else, that takes our power and gives it away to something or someone, so that we can look and we can blame and we can say, but it was their fault and they did, and all of these things happened, instead of saying, what feels good in my body? What feels good in my soul? What feels good when I ingest it into myself? What television shows, what people, what websites, what things fill me up and make me feel great? Because the more of those things that we have, the better we feel inside. We know that God is love. Every definition that I have seen so far talks about God on some form or fashion being equated to or with this energy we call love. And it says that God is in all things. And so as we connect with these things, whether they're people who are important to us, whether they're television shows or radio programs or websites or what's on your Facebook wall, they're things that if there's a stronger chunk of God there that resonates with you, that you feel good, then you're feeling connected to God because you're feeling that area of love. Now the other side of this curve is, once we get filled back up, again, just like this coffee cup, no matter how many times I drain it, I just poke it back in and fill it right back up again. But it takes that pushing pause in life to put our cup under the spigot, to say, hey God, help me out. I'm a little depleted and I need to be filled back up again. And once we do that, then this newfound, renewed, I should say, hope begins to creep in. Because when you jump in your car and the needle's over on the E, how do you feel? Restricted. Well, I can only go, my car says I can only go 15 more miles before it will not run anymore. I have to fill it up. I have to. And so when we jump in our car and it's on E, we have all these different little fear things pop into our head about, do I have enough to get to the gas station? Do I have enough to get to this place and this place and this place I need to get to before I get to the gas station because I'm running late, etc., etc. When we jump in the car and that needle's over on F, we go, oh my gosh, I could go 300 miles right now. The world is my oyster. You know, I could go all the way to Georgia before I even needed to refuel at this point. I can go anywhere. I can do anything because my tank's on F. It's on full. And same thing with our internal tank. When we take the time to renew it and recharge it, and our tank's on F, and we wake up in the morning and go, wow, I got a full tank of gas, baby. Then all of these things that maybe seemed difficult before begin to feel really easy because I got a full tank of gas to get there. So when we look at the last month, and since the beginning of the year, with the vision boards and all the things we put together, this is what I want to do and accomplish and be and experience. This is what I want to evolve into being, into feeling, into living. It's so much easier with the renewal process, with having that full tank of gas, to say, I got the juice I need to get there. I got the juice I need to get there. And so we've been watching a whole lot of folks be in all different levels and spectrums of this curve of either, whoa, I feel it coming on, I'm going to take a little break, or wow, it's kicking my butt, I'm down for a couple weeks or a month or whatever this crud stuff is. Or I am so jazzed up right now. We look at Debbie, who the reason she's not here today is because she's teaching a class at the Science of Mind Church on Wednesday, and she's going to be putting together this workshop. She is jazzed about it. And they said, can you come over on Sunday? I know that you normally go to Connections, but could you come here on Sunday just so that everybody can meet you because you're putting on this class on Wednesday? And she said, oh yeah, I'd love to. And so that's why she's not here today. She's meeting all kinds of new friends. And she's getting her teaching on, and she's excited about this workshop, and she's got all these juices flowing. And all week I've been talking with her on Facebook and stuff, and she's digging out all these workshops that she used to do and seeing what still fits and what doesn't fit anymore and what needs to be added and what needs to be subtracted and massaging it and practicing it and doing all. And she is just geeked up with, woo, I got a full tank of gas and I'm going in the direction that I want to go. And I've known for a while that I wanted to teach again. I wanted to teach workshops and classes, and I've got all this experience and credentials, and by goodness, now I'm starting to live it. I'm starting to live it, and it feels great. And that little bit of momentum brings that next bit of momentum, brings that next bit of momentum, and all of a sudden our dreams, instead of being these little tiny specks on the horizon, start to come closer and closer and closer until they're in our path, they're in our bubble, they're in our reality. Now the reason I like the skit that we chose today is so much of it is a mindset. When we saw all the little messages going through there with, today is the best day of my life. Good is all around me. Good is being attracted to me. I'm not in this life experience alone. I have friends. I have spiritual spirits. I have spirit guides. I have God. I have an entire universe who is working with me, if I ask them to accomplish what I want to accomplish, to do what I want to do, to be what I want to be, more effortlessly and more easily than before I thought possible. When you look at each of those thoughts, each of those sentences that flashed across the screen, we probably all had different sentences that spoke to each of us. But those are things that we're using to fuel ourselves back up. Those are replenishing that glass. Now at the same time, we've got a God who loves us so much that He gave us the free will to say, you choose what you put in. I'm not going to govern your thoughts. So when we think about our thoughts throughout the course of a day, throughout the course of a week or a month, we can choose to put in the thoughts that say, doggone that kid, my life was a whole bunch easier before she showed up. I got sleep at night, I got this, I got that, blah, 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 blah. That's just terrible. Or I can put in the thoughts that are real, that say, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing feeling on the whole planet, and geeking out over the littlest, tiniest thing that she does, that my cup runneth over. And that just fuels me up, that I look at her and I go, wow, before I met Mary, I was just a dude. I was just a dude. And whether I was consider myself a good dude or a bad dude was all in my own eyes. And when I got married, I went, wow, I want to be a better dude than that. I want to be better than I used to be because she's here 24/7 and she sees it. And I want to be the best dude that I can for her. And I thought that was kind of the mecca until the little one showed up. And I went, wow, somebody's going to be looking to me for an example. Now I want to be even better. I want to help myself even more. I want to do things so I can provide things, so I can be, so I can structure my life, so I can be part of her world every day. on Valentine's Day, the folks came over and watched Trinity, and Mary and I went out to dinner. And we were away from Trinity for about 2 hours. And that makes a grand total of 3.5 hours of her life that I've not been present. That's crazy. That's crazy, but it got structured that way because the priority is this, and the priority is this, and the priority is God, and the priority are the people in this room, and the priority is the people who have ever been in this room. So the people